It's part of human nature to believe that the louder or more often we speak, the more people will listen to us. But the truth is, words are weak when it comes to persuasion. And in fact, the more you speak, the less convincing you become. You can spend hours talking to someone, but if you don't change the way you think about it, it will only lead to more frustration. If history has taught us anything, it's that a person's influence isn't determined by what they say, but by what they believe in. When Andrew Carnegie, one of the wealthiest industrialists of his time, was in the early stages of building his steel empire, his company became overwhelmed with orders. He needed people around him who could work efficiently and quickly, so he invested a lot of effort into trying to motivate and persuade them. He noticed a strange anomaly. The more he insisted his employees and partners to follow his instructions, the more resistance he faced. The harder he pushed, the more hesitant and unenthusiastic people became, sometimes even resisting his ideas altogether. Over time, Carnegie experimented with a different approach. Instead of directly insisting with words, he began by visualizing his team working the way he wanted. Carnegie spent long hours mentally projecting his expectations, envisioning his team as loyal, motivated, and ready to act on their own. The results spoke for themselves. Over time, he no longer needed to say much. Everyone was giving their best. His company managed to handle even the largest orders with speed because everyone worked at maximum pace. Carnegie built a huge empire, but it all began with the picture he created in his mind first. William Walker Atkinson, a pioneer in the study of the mind's power, believed that thoughts are not something simply confined to the mind, but something that can have a direct impact on the world around us. According to Atkinson, each one of our thoughts carries a unique energy, one that influences not only us and our view of the world, but also people we come into contact with. He believed that through focused, intentional thinking, a person could literally transmit their desires, intentions, and expectations, affecting in this way the thoughts and actions of others. French researcher René Piot proved that it's real. He conducted an experiment in which a small robot was programmed to move completely randomly. In trials, the robot was placed in a big cage and it followed the programming, moving without any patterns around the whole space. Then, day-old chicks were placed in that same cage, but only on one side of it. Their natural instinct immediately made them imprint on the robot as if it was their mother, which caused something mind-blowing to happen. The robot was no longer moving randomly. It started moving only in the area around the chicks as if it was responding to their desire to stay close. Realize we cannot change the external without first changing the internal. Think about it. If what we think has a direct influence over people around us, then why would you even waste time struggling to convince others with words? Instead, you can go within and assume that everything you want from other people has already happened, that they already are the way you envision them to be. When you accept certain truths about others, you start to subconsciously act in ways that align with those beliefs. For example, if you genuinely see someone as capable and trustworthy, your actions, tone, and even body language will naturally reflect that. You'll treat them with more respect and sympathy, often without even realizing it. And people, in turn, are incredibly perceptive. They pick up on these subtle cues and respond in ways that mirror your belief. As a result, people begin to embody the qualities you've envisioned. not because you've persuaded them with words, but because you have convinced yourself that the mental pictures you've created of them are real. In this way, you don't even have to say a single word, because it's not words that define people's attitudes toward us, but the aura we create around ourselves through the way we think. Psychologists explain this phenomenon as the Pygmalion effect. Whenever we hold certain positive expectations about someone, they are more likely to live up to those expectations. For example, imagine a football coach named Stephen who's just joined a new team. He hasn't had a chance to see any of his players in action yet, but based on a few brief introductions, he instinctively feels that one player, Leo, has exceptional potential. Even though Coach Stephen hasn't directly expressed his belief in this player, he subconsciously gives Leo more opportunities during drills, more encouragement, and in general pays closer attention to his performance compared to the other players. Leo quickly picks up on his coach's confidence in him, while other players feel less noticed. He begins pushing himself harder in training, taking more initiative on the field, and performing at a level he hadn't reached before. By the end of the season, Leo finishes as one of the team's star players, all without a single word spoken. This principle works in any area of social life, whether it's with colleagues, friends, or even family. Instead of relying purely on words, which very often lead to unnecessary arguments, you can go within and assume that everything you want from others is already there, that they have already changed and there is no need for you to intervene. So, every time you want to convince someone, don't immediately talk to them. Start by visualizing them as having already made that change. Create vivid mental pictures. See them as more proactive, supportive, or embodying any qualities you would hope for. Imagine them with these qualities as if they've already become that person, and repeat this visualization until your subconscious mind has genuinely accepted it as reality. Once you've fully convinced yourself, your behavior will unconsciously shift. You'll act in ways that align with this belief, and that's the whole point. You can create a mirror effect where the person begins to reflect the qualities you've envisioned, all without a single word spoken. By now, you should have realized how much impact your mental beliefs can have on the world you see. You can drastically change the behavior of anyone around you without needing to say a single word. The truth is, the people who have the greatest influence over others aren't those who tirelessly struggle in physical reality, but rather those who fully control their own state of mind and literally create the reality they envision. Keep in mind, the key to mastering the art of persuasion doesn't come from mastering how you speak. It always originates from the mental plane. When you change your perceptions about others, you'll see just how effortless it can be to influence people.